On October 13, 1982, in Morro Bay, California, someone walking near the beach noticed something that immediately felt wrong. Beneath a cluster of cypress trees, not far from where people jogged and walked their dogs, there was a body, badly decomposed, and it didn't take long for police to realize this wasn't an accident. The woman had been strangled. What stood out right away was the weapon. It wasn't a rope someone brought with them. It wasn't wire or anything sharp. It was a dog leash, her own dog's leash. That alone would have been disturbing enough. But as police started asking questions, something even stranger came up. Her husband hadn't reported her missing. Not the night she disappeared, not the next day, not even the next week. He waited 11 days, and then 4 years later, that same husband disappeared too. No witnesses, no body, no explanation. Both cases are still unsolved. This isn't just a murder story, it's also a disappearance story, and possibly the kind of cover-up that never fully unraveled. To understand why this case still matters, you have to go back before the leash, before anyone vanished. Hugh Harlin was born on July 31st, 1935, right there in Morro Bay. This town wasn't just where he lived, it was his entire world. The harbor, the docks, the fishing boats, the people. This was his home, and he never really wanted anything else. Hugh lived on his own terms. He worked when he felt like it, fished when the mood struck. He did odd jobs for friends, sometimes for hours, and often refused payment afterward. Money just didn't seem important to him. His wife, Dian Harlin, came from a very different background. She was born on November 22nd, 1938, in San Francisco. Dian was unconventional in ways people around Morro Bay noticed immediately. She was deeply drawn to animals, spirituality, and alternative beliefs. She practiced a form of Buddhism. She believed dreams carried meaning. She believed animals were messengers. Together, Hugh and Dian stood out. Around town, people called them eccentric. Some saw them as free spirits. Others described them as aging hippies who never really left the 1960s behind. But behind that image, their marriage was far from peaceful. Money was always a problem, and Dian spent what little they had. Most of it went toward dogs. Over time, she became known locally as the Dog Lady. She was always walking, always wearing old clothes, always accompanied by one or more dogs. Totu, Charity, and others over the years. Friends said Dian would give money to strangers. She helped people Hugh barely knew. Their arguments were frequent and sometimes public. During one fight, she reportedly opened a can of dog food and served it to Hugh for dinner. Another time, she baked dog food into a casserole. By 1982, the couple had been living rent-free on a ranch just outside Morro Bay for about 4 years. That's where they were living when everything stopped. On October 2nd, 1982, Dian took her dogs, Totu and Charity, out for their usual evening walk. Around 6:15 p.m., she was seen near Morro Bay High School. That was the last confirmed sighting of her alive. About an hour later, people noticed the dogs near the beach. They were running. They were alone. Dian wasn't with them. Later that night, Hugh said the dogs returned home around 11 p.m. Still no Dian. The ranch owner urged Hugh to call the police. He didn't. He told people that Dian sometimes disappeared, that she wandered, that she would leave for days at a time. And so 11 days passed. No missing person report, no organized search, no visible urgency. Until on October 13, during a cross-country meet near the high school, a woman walked toward the beach. Under a stand of cypress trees, she saw something that didn't belong there. A body. It was partially clothed and badly decomposed. A dog leash was wrapped around the woman's neck. Police determined she had been sexually assaulted and strangled. Because of the condition of the body, they couldn't identify her immediately, so they released a description to the media. That evening, Hugh Harlin called police. He was shown jewelry found near the body, including 2 bracelets. Hugh identified them as Dian's. Fingerprints later confirmed it. Investigators determined that Dian had been killed before 7 p.m. on October 2nd, the same evening she disappeared. When police questioned Hugh about why he hadn't reported her missing, he repeated that Dian often left without warning. Then detectives asked about the dogs, specifically whether they had returned home still wearing their leashes. Hugh said they had. Police then showed him the leash used to strangle Dian. At that point, he changed his story. Now he's saying the dogs had come back without their leashes. That moment raised serious alarms. Hugh asked for a lawyer and stopped answering questions. Despite this, within days, police publicly stated they had no suspects, and Hugh was not officially considered one. Hugh didn't seem relieved by this. He was angry. He said calling Dian's death a homicide brought disgrace to her name. He insisted she had died from an aneurysm, claiming she sometimes forgot to take her medication. He also said an astrologist had resolved any suspicion of foul play. Hugh told police that Dian believed she could predict the future, that she once dreamed if anything happened to her Afghan dog, Retzel, she would die soon afterward. Police continued to pursue other leads. At one point, they even questioned serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, but Lucas had an alibi. Another suspect emerged later, but there wasn't enough evidence to file charges. The district attorney declined to move forward. By 1985, Dian Harlin's murder had gone cold. Then 4 years later, Hugh Harlin vanished. On November 1st, 1986, Hugh borrowed tools for his short construction job in San Simeon, about 27 miles north of Morro Bay. He finished the work and left around 1:30 p.m., heading home. He never arrived. The next day, his blue 1967 Chevrolet pickup was found along Highway 1 near Cambria. The hood was up. The doors were locked. Inside were Hugh's glasses, his sleeping bag, backpack, tools, lunch, tobacco tins, and even marijuana he regularly smoked. His keys were found in the grass nearby. A fuel line had been removed from the truck. Police believed Hugh may have walked away to find help. He was never seen again. Searches turned up nothing, no body, and not a single trace. Some believe Hugh staged his disappearance. He was known to be a survivalist. Others believe he knew something about Dian's murder that made him a target, and some believe he ultimately paid for it. Two mysteries, one couple. No answers. Who killed Dian Harlin? What happened to Hugh? And are these two events connected? Until Hugh Harlin is found, the truth remains buried somewhere along the Morro Bay coast and with Dian.